The 49ers are in Mexico for a crucial NFC West matchup against the Arizona Cardinals tonight. It's a lunchtime edition of the Sprint Ride Option Podcast, starting right about now.
Welcome, everybody.
We are live.
My name is Jason Aponte.
I am Andrew Pasquini.
We're working. That's it. We're working over here. That's it. Let's go, Niners.
Let's go, Niners. Sprint Ride Option Podcast. Oh my goodness, it's game day. Not too many Sprint Ride Option podcasts happen on game day. Exciting times. I am Andrew Pasquini, joined as always by the wonderful Jason Aponte. And Jason, how you doing on this Monday afternoon? I guess almost evening for Jason Aponte time. How you doing today?
Freezing, but hey, it's game day. Something different for the fans who enjoy our stuff. You get to watch at lunch now at this point, and this is probably the best way to do this. It's like an informal pregame. And I do think that the timing of this is the best because of the injury reports. And now we at least have an idea of who the quarterback is going to be. So rather than on Friday, give you something where we think one guy's going to play and give you this whole spiel on how they're going to stop him, I think we're kind of settled in on who is the real McCoy. Ooh, you like that, right?
So you mean exactly like our Cardinals preview last year where we did a whole thing of like, oh yeah, if it's Kyler, this is going to happen. But if it's Colt McCoy, this is going to happen. And then we said, yeah, if it's Colt McCoy, the Niners are going to win by a lot of points. Who cares, man? And then we don't talk about it. Jason, my first thought in this game, and it's the advantage of seeing what happened yesterday with the Rams, and the Rams maybe dead in the water, right, is this is a huge game for the Niners to really turn the NFC West into a two-team race. If it's not there already, it might be there already. Who knows? But if you can beat the Cardinals, both the Cardinals and Rams are going to be at the bottom of the NFC West with 3 wins. The Niners with 6, the Seahawks with 6. It's probably going to take 10 wins to win this division at minimum. I don't think the Cardinals and Rams are going to go 7-0 to finish their seasons to be put in a position to win the West, let alone even to a point where it's not even going to be competitive. I mean, the Niners' last game against the Cardinals, ideally is a game the Niners have the West sealed up and the Cardinals have nothing to play for. This is kind of an important game for the NFC West.
Especially for the 49ers to remain undefeated in the division, which is going to be the tiebreaker. We don't know where Seattle is right now. We obviously know that their schedule is going to get tougher, as is the 49ers is kind of opening up while they're getting a bunch of their reinforcements back. But yeah, if the 49ers can do what I think they're going to do, spoiler alert, I'm picking the 49ers to win in this game. It is an absolutely two-team race. The Rams are cooked and the Cardinals are on their last, if they have any sort of glimmer of hope, it's a 1% chance this is going to knock all of that out if the 49ers do what I think they will.
Yeah, an absolute best case scenario for me tonight is the Niners really play one of their stamp games where they put a stamp on the game early. It's kind of like every Rams game, save the last one they just played, where the Niners just kind of jump out early. They score often, and at halftime we're talking about a 21-3 game, and the Niners just kind of ride their running offense into the sunset, head back to Santa Clara. I believe they play the Saints next week, so I don't need this to be a blowout per se, but I would feel very good if the Niners can blow this game out, because I don't think I know Jason. I hear Jason Aponte in my head every time. For the past 3 days, I've said the Niners are going to blow this game out, and I hear a little Jason Aponte voice like, "You can never do it with a division game, Andrew. You can't do that."
That's one of the things, but there's more to it. There's a little bit more method to my madness. There's a lot
more to it, but the ongoing thing that Jason Aponte tells me a lot of things, special teams, pointless, all this. But the one thing I always hear is you never know with divisional games, and this is a divisional game. So it's harder to actually go and blow out a team that's significantly worse than you, because I don't think the Cardinals and the Niners are even in the same class of the NFL. But just the fact that they play in the same division and they see each other twice a year, it's a little more complicated than just the Niners are better than the Cardinals.
I agree wholeheartedly when it comes to the division thing. Like, wacky things happen in divisional games. Teams that are ready to run away with it, a la the Buffalo Bills, they lose to the New York Jets. There's examples of it all the time. And there was a lot of sentiments yesterday about, well, why aren't they blowing out the Chargers, the Chiefs? And it's like, it's a divisional game. It's just going to be like that. But I want to say something that I'm going to make sure I articulate. Yes. Probably going to come off controversial. I would feel much better about this game if Kyler Murray was playing. Let me explain. So, I am not telling you that Colt McCoy is better than Kyler Murray.
Yes.
I am not telling you that. What I'm telling you is Kyler Murray is exceptional at off-script plays, making things happen, things that Colt McCoy can't do, right? That's why they paid him all that money. But the problem is the small details, the things that are there right in front of him, he'll miss in order to run around. And now those plays, those off-script plays now haven't been going his way as much. He's either fumbling the ball, they turn into incompletion, guys are barking at him for missing wide open things. Colt McCoy's not going to miss those throws. He's very good at the details. He gets the ball out quickly. That is scarier than a guy that you're like, oh, he's going to run around in a circle and you got to, you know what? That ball can end up as an incompletion. But Colt McCoy is going to get the ball out, not allow the pass rush to get to him, identify better in terms of pre-snap, identify the where to go with the ball, and where Kyler Murray is missing DeAndre Hopkins wide open down the field, Colt McCoy's not going to miss. And I am much more worried about this offense with Colt McCoy because of the finer details. He's better at calling out protections. He's better pre-snap, identifying what the defense is trying to do. He's better with actual recognition of, okay, I've got my guy here on their backup corner. Let's go with it. Instead, Kyler is like, look, all right, run, and hope you make a play. I am not telling you that Colt McCoy is better than Kyler Murray. What I am telling you is Colt McCoy's style of football is suited to help this offense run efficiently because Kyler's missing the quick throws that are there. Kyler's missing the wide open reads. Colt's not going to miss those. That's the problem. And that's what makes me more nervous than anything.
I'm smiling because you're absolutely right. And this is a podcast that learned their lesson on Colt McCoy last year. And that's all this is just those feelings from last year of like, yeah, man, it's Colt McCoy. Like, what's he going to do? And then you found out like, oh yeah, he could just 5 yards at a time kill you. And that and also too, like if you want to go one step further, because everything you said was absolutely right about what Kyler is, I think him being that type of quarterback maybe plays into why he's not playing as well because of the hamstring injury. If this is maybe a Tom Brady or a quarterback who doesn't rely on their legs as much, maybe Kyler Murray is playing this game, but he's not. He is a quarterback that really needs the off-script stuff. It feels like he struggles with the on-script stuff. And yeah, absolutely, Jason. Colt McCoy is the exact opposite of that. He is going to be annoyingly accurate. It's going to be annoying with quick little 5-yard slant routes to DeAndre Hopkins and things like that. And you saw how that hurt the Niners last season because that's kind of like the Cardinals they had one big play. I think it was a Christian Kirk 50-yard reception in that game. But other than that, it was a lot of very quick, very short, very thoughtless plays that the card, not thoughtless in terms of when they ran them, but plays where it's McCoy snaps it, looks, sees Hopkins, or maybe I don't remember Hopkins play, but just quick, get it out, get the ball on the spot and keep moving the ball down the field. And that's something that is tough to defend. Now on the other side of it, we always talk about the value of a backup quarterback starting on a dimes drop. Last year it was kind of that case, and we talk about it with like Nick Mullins and CJ Beathard. We're like, yeah, they look really good in their first game because teams aren't prepared for it. Whereas, starter, you're preparing for Kyler Murray or whoever the starter is, maybe a little bit more advantageous for the Niners this time around with Colt McCoy because they had the idea going into the week that, hey, Kyler might not play. And they had that idea as well last season, but this would be McCoy's second start in 2 weeks, and that makes it a little different that, hey, going into this week, the Niners said there is a better chance than McCoy plays than he doesn't. So maybe that helps as well. But yeah, man, you absolutely hit the nail on the head. Kyler is tough to defend for multiple reasons, but especially with the hamstring, I don't see how he would have been super effective this week. Also, I'll take the low-hanging fruit, Jason. Call of Duty Modern Warfare Warzone 2 came out last week, so that's all he's been doing. So he gets a couple more days to do that as well. I'll make that joke. I don't really mean it. I just wanted to make the joke. But Colt McCoy can absolutely be scarier than what Kyler Murray is, just because of how efficiently he can run an offense. And Gammon, thank you for the donation. I have one major concern. Our safety tandem lacks catch-up speed. Cardinals wide receiver minus D-Hop are supersonic fast. Altitude will make 4 quarters feel like 5. Quick passes help beat pass rush.
So, again, when you look at what the Cardinals are trying to do, they're trying to spread you out. So the 49ers probably won't be in base as much. You're probably not going to see Azeez Al-Shaair as much in this game. You're going to have more corners on the field. Now, we know the depth, right? Rondale Moore's playing very well. DeAndre Hopkins is who he is. They're going to be able to find ways to get the ball out, right? And they're going to be able to spread this thing out. So, again, if Colt's moving the ball, if Colt is making all the right reads, Colt's going to take shots too. And I think a lot of people had to watch the Rams game and then had to watch the Hard Knocks right after, because that gave me so much in terms of their preparation and how confident they are in Colt because of the throws that he made. He threw an absolute dime to AJ Green in the back of the end zone for a touchdown. The guy is smart. He gets the ball out fast. The small details are not lost on him. And for what the Cardinals want to do, they're not looking to run the ball at all. They're at the bottom half of the league running the ball. So it's going to be a bunch of passes, right? It's really going to test the secondary. And I don't think Colt McCoy is going to hold the ball long enough for guys to get there. So if you're not getting there with pass rush, you're going to have to dedicate bringing more people, which D'Amico Ryans has done 4 and 5 and 6 at times. But if you're gonna do that, be prepared for Colt to get the ball out. He's very good and he's very smart. Again, we learned our lesson last year.
Yeah.
But watching last week's game, watching the Hard Knocks and the way they prepared with Colt McCoy, I hate to say it, but I know that Kyler is obviously more dynamic. But damn if Cliff didn't look comfortable knowing what he could call and knowing that the things that he wanted to see on the field were going to be executed by Colt McCoy. Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy to say. So again, it's less about, is this guy better than this one? We're big proponents of styles make fights. And it doesn't necessarily mean that your roster's better. It doesn't mean he's better than this guy. It means that if you're going to attack a defense and you find a way to point the weaknesses out and you can attack them and execute, then that's where it becomes styles make fights. Yeah. And it's less about, you're saying Kyler's better. I am saying Kyler's better, but I am saying that Colt is going to present more of a problem with his style of play. So I think that Gammon's right about this 100%. But to combat that and to keep them off the field, the 49ers have to do what they have been doing. 6th in the league on third downs. The last 2 weeks, over 50%. They have to continue drives again and again and again. They have to be able to do this. If there was ever a game, because of the altitude, where Kyle Shanahan needs 8 and 10-minute drives, it's this one right here. You have to be able to do that to keep those guys off the field. The longer you keep them on the field, the longer that they're spread out, the longer that you expose the corners, Lenore, even Jimmy Ward. Jimmy Ward, look, I'm not talking down on Jimmy Ward, but Jimmy Ward's far better at covering tight ends than he is slot receivers. So all of these things play into each other, and that's what makes this game so much more interesting now that Colt's playing as opposed to Kyler.
Jason Aponte is on fire right now. I just want to throw that out there. If you don't recognize what on fire on takes looks like, Jason Aponte right now, he's boom shakalaka cooking. But you I think that's the fun thing of football though, Jason, because you mentioned Kyler Murray and his electricity, and it works. Obviously it works. Kyler Murray is a pretty good quarterback. He's gotten a second contract extension, whatever your opinions on it, doesn't matter. He's a successful quarterback in the NFL. But Colt McCoy is boring, but it works. And it's just so interesting to see how, within the same team, how two contrasting styles work in different ways. And I think that's kind of the madness of having that, because Colt McCoy is as reliable as any quarterback in the NFL, at least in terms of his level. Obviously, I'm not comparing Colt McCoy to Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes or anything like that. But for the tier he is in, whatever tier that may be, he is in the upper tier.
As a backup. He's a top backup.
And there's a reason he's always been in the league. And then also Gammon mentioned the receivers as well. There is no Hollywood Brown tonight, but Rondell Moore and DeAndre Hopkins, not a very easy tandem. So even too, if it is no Kyler Murray and it's Colt McCoy, I don't really care who's throwing the ball at that point. If he gets the balls, if whoever the quarterback is gets the ball to a Rondell Moore or a DeAndre Hopkins, it can be dangerous. And the Niners, I don't want to say catch a break, because it's never catching a break when a player, injures his knee and ends his season. But Zach Ertz, he's done for the season. And then you mentioned the Cardinals running game, the big surprising move they made last week, releasing Eno Benjamin, which is, I guess we're going to find out what happens, because I read a thing on the Cardinals subreddit that apparently Hard Knocks got some video of the release. So we'll see what that actually looks like and see what transpired. But that was, if this podcast happens on Friday and we don't have the hindsight of or the information on the injuries up to the second like we have right now, we're probably leading with Eno Benjamin being released by the Cardinals. We're leading with Zach Ertz, but now we have the injury information. But this is an offense that's missing some key pieces, but the pieces they still have can absolutely hurt you. And that's the scary thing, because Colt McCoy, whatever your opinion is on him, DeAndre Hopkins has played 4 games this season, and he is 11 receptions off of leading the Cardinals as a team. he is less than 100 yards away from leading the Cardinals. That's how unbelievable the seasons he's had in 4 games is. He's almost their leading receiver in half of the games played, a little less than that. So it's the weapons are very scary, and obviously very confident in Charvarius Ward to play corner against one of those receivers. It's a little more questionable with Amador Lenore, who's been fine in these past. We haven't complained about Amador Lenore, which tells us he's doing his job a little bit, so there's that. So it is a confidence thing with the amount of receivers, and also maybe getting into it a little early. Hoomst revenge game. This is a Talanoa Hufanga revenge game because Talanoa Hufanga's second career start was last year in the Colt McCoy game. And it wasn't his fault per se. He was targeted 3 times. He was credited with allowing the 50-yard reception against Christian Kirk. But if you remember that game, one of the big stories was Jaquaski Tart and Jimmy Ward were both out. It was Talanoa Hufanga, and I apologize, I forget who the second safety was that game, but the Niners were down to their backups and maybe had a role in Colt McCoy beating the Niners. But Talanoa Hufanga is significantly different than who he was last year. Like, he is a top tier safety when last year he was making his second career start. So Hoom's revenge game, maybe a little bit of Talanoa Hufanga.
It's DeMeco Ryans' revenge game.
And him too, yes.
And the one thing that you have to also be worried about is the screen game. It's been exploited week after week. That's largely when I went back and watched that last game from last year was how they were killing the 49ers, using their aggressiveness against them. They had no answer for it. There's all of these things still floating around. There's still a blueprint on how to do it. You have to believe that the 49ers are going to be better equipped. DeMeco is going to be better equipped. He's been incredible with his adjustments, but you can't have the screen game. You can't allow them to spread you out. Trey McBride is somebody who is going to step in for Zach Ertz. He is no slouch either. The guy is mammoth. He almost killed me at the Senior Bowl. He is that big. But yeah, they've got weapons galore, man. They really do. And if Hollywood Brown was playing, then you feel even scarier about this. But it's right now, the 49ers have this game. This is all of that to say that the 49ers still should win this game. And a lot of that is going to be on the back of this offense, keeping that defense on the sideline and fresh, okay? Being able to do what they want on offense. Can they continue what they're doing on third down? So when I talked about third down and why the 49ers are 6th, the Arizona Cardinals are at the bottom of the league in third down and red zone. Sounds like a good opportunity for this offense to continue what they've been doing on third down and improve on some things in the red zone since they are near the bottom of the league. So this is all going to hinge again on the offense, right? Can you have those methodical drives, 8 minutes, that end in touchdowns? Don't end in field goals, that end in touchdowns, because the Cardinals can get you back, boom, 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 go right down because they want to play fast pace. They want to spread you out. That's how they want to win. So right now, a lot of these things line up perfectly for the 49ers offense, right? And that's where they're going to have to win this game. Defensively, they're going to have to be as disciplined as possible because Colt McCoy is going to make the right decision almost every time. He's not going to give you any boneheaded throws. Kyler Murray's good for 1 or 2 boneheaded throws where you're like, what did you see? Or like he in his last game against Seattle, just straight up dropped the ball on the floor while he's running. Like he has been having that type of season. Colt McCoy's not going to do that. So the 49ers on defense need to be completely disciplined, trust each other. On the back end, you cannot make any mistakes, no missteps, anything like that. And it's all going to boil down to how much pressure you can get on Colt McCoy because he wants to get that thing and get it out. And he's going to because he's great pre-snap.
I love this podcast because you started talking about the Niners offense. I didn't even have to say anything. And I was about ready to make the segue into the Niners offense playing against the Cardinals defense. We didn't even have to say it. We just did it right there. But before we do, Jason, I wanted to remind the people that while we will be talking about the Niners hopefully win against the Arizona Cardinals tomorrow, we will not be doing it on YouTube.com. We will be doing it with the 49ers on the 49ers app, Supporters Club live with the Sprint Ride Option podcast. It is going to be tomorrow, 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Jason Aponte time. Every Tuesday, Supporters Club goes live with a new host each week. Sprint Ride Option podcast was chosen this time. You can find us on the 49ers app. And if you're not part of the Supporters Club yet, if you use the code live_sprint_right, you get $25 off your first year of membership. If you just go to supporters.49ers.com/hub, you can check that out. So yeah, Sprint Ride Option podcast on the 49ers app tomorrow, part of the Supporters Club live. So make sure you go do that. It is live_sprint_right for $25 off of your first year. Go check it out. Jason and I are going to have a good time and hopefully talk about a Niners win. Luis, thank you for the donation. I'm so hyped for this game.
Happy.
hopefully the NFL and the Niners front office realize the opportunity of having more games in Mexico and make the Niners fan base here the largest one abroad. I'm assuming Luis is going to this game. I'm just going to take that assumption. Is that George Kittle's mask that he wears in every video they've posted this week?
It is not. It is mine from my last time that I was in Mexico. Yeah, I mean, it's you see the amount of people that are traveling to the game, but there's a large 49er contingent fan base there.
82%. I believe is what they said. 82% should be Niner fans tonight. Yep. And it just ends up working out really nice because it is a road game for the Niners, technically. And this is another one of those road on or home on the road games for the Niners, just like we see in SoFi. This one should be all intents and purposes of 49ers home games. 82%. That's not a small amount. Right. So it's going to be very loud for the Niners.
Jack for you, Luis. I'm sure it's electric down there, man. I wish I could go, but unfortunately, I am very poor. So that's why I continue to do as many podcasts as possible. And Gammon, again, thank you for the donation. Good to see you, buddy. I haven't seen you in a while. Mod Squad in the building. Not to lambaste the 49ers, but what will it say about this team in high-altitude games, Denver, Mexico City, if they lose this game? Look, I think the first Denver game, the defense gave up 9 points.
Yes.
I don't know if they really had any, I think at the end of that game, they were, gassed, right? Because they had been on the field too much because the offense wasn't helping them. So it all goes back to my point. The 49ers win this game is going to be on the back of this offense. It's going to be on the back of Jimmy Garoppolo and these weapons to get it done, to keep the defense fresh, keep that pass rush going, because Colt McCoy is going to pick his spots and know when to get the ball out. So that Denver game, when you give up 9 points, I don't care if you play it on Mars. Your team should win. So I think it was more on the offense that night for how they weren't putting points up at all.
Yeah, and I'm not too worried about it either because, I guess you could say they struggle in high-altitude games, but when is that going to come back to bite them again, right? They're not going to play the Broncos for another 3 years if everything goes right. I know they have the 18th game or 17th game now. They're probably not going to play Mexico City too frequently as well. Debbie, it's being reported here in Arizona that Cardinals said regarding that we prefer that Colt run the offense. Speculations Kyler will be back in mid-December. I absolutely could see that being the case. There's something, and Niner fans won't like this, but there's something about the safer quarterback option that gives this layer of comfort, which is kind of the quarterback the Niners have a little bit, right? So there's that. There's something about the safer quarterback, I think, as in an NFL locker room, more say than anything else. I think the safer quarterback probably gives players in a locker room more comfort. I think the fans want the more exciting players who are more turnover worthy, but I think I could see that within a locker room. Yeah.
Cliff definitely wants Colt to do this because Colt sees the game the way that Cliff does. He sees the open reads and he hits them. Kyler's not doing that now, and that's why he feels so like his play calling this last week was on point. He felt confident with everything that they were doing and everything that they implemented because of Colt McCoy. So I 100% believe this. And I didn't need to, thank you for that nugget of info, Debbie, but I definitely didn't need to read that to know that. Like when you watch that Hard Knocks episode, when you watch how they prepped all week, when you watch Cliff during that game and the way he was calling plays, Colt knew exactly where to go with the ball. He knew exactly when to get it out. He knew exactly who to get it to. Yep. That's the stuff that Kyler's not doing right now. Now, is he seeing the field like Colt does? No. Is he probably not? He's not pre-checking. He's playing a little bit more backyard football, which can lead to plays when things go off script. But Cliff needs this offense to execute, and Colt can do that. That's what makes this game a lot more nervous. I've got the 49ers winning, but I've seen some wild predictions. 38-16, 38-18. No way. Absolutely not. No way.
Yeah, and it's one of those, as fun as those exciting plays are that Kyler Murray has, I think from a head coach sanity standpoint, I think head coaches would prefer the boring, easy plays that gets yards, and maybe that's why he does that. Yep, Debbie, thank you. The thought is Kyler runs around, misses reads. Colt doesn't. Yeah, that's the scary thing about Colt McCoy. So there it is. Thank you, Debbie. We appreciate it as always. We love the comments. Jason, you mentioned the Niners offense against this Arizona defense. And it's kind of funny because it's almost the exact opposite of what they had to deal with against the Chargers. You look at the numbers, Arizona almost top 10 in terms of rush defense. They are near the bottom of the league in terms of pass defense. So a little bit reverse of what the Chargers were. Not great against the run, pretty good, not decent against the pass. Los Angeles doesn't have the greatest pass defense. But the thing that's similar between the two is the Niners put up 22 points against the fourth worst scoring defense in the league in the Chargers. The Cardinals are now the fourth worst because there's been games played yesterday, rankings adjust, but entering week 11, the Cardinals were the third worst scoring defense in the NFL. Is there any concerns that maybe the Niners, this being a team that's a little better against the run, could that be a concern for the Niners offense that really likes to run the ball well?
Not with the way that Jimmy Garoppolo has been playing lately, especially.
I love that opening. That was the opening sentence I was hoping to get.
And not especially on third down, right? I just put out an article on Niners Nation about X factors, and I have Juwan Jennings as the offensive X factor because of the 28 catches that he had. 20 are on third down that have been converted into first downs or a touchdown. The guy, all this talk about tipping plays all week. The play that's your biggest tip off is Juwan Jennings is out there. Jimmy Garoppolo is going to throw him the ball on third down. So it's going to be the way that they're going to have to execute. Byron Murphy is not going to be playing in this game. Buda Baker's a little bit banged up, even though I have no idea how he played this past week. If you would have,
he got his first interception with a high ankle sprain.
Yeah, and it's
insane.
He almost looked like after the game when he was walking out that he wasn't going to play, and I was like, wow, that sucks because Buda's a baller, but he was great. And so Byron Murphy's not going to play. That's definitely going to help right there. But at the same time, I think that this largely is going to fall on the passing game. And Jimmy Garoppolo has very good numbers against Arizona. You can go all the way back to 2019. Obviously, that blowout game doesn't look good. Those ended up being good numbers. That's why you have to watch the film and not just the numbers. I know you're watching, Rich. I just want to make sure I get that in there.
Hi, Rich.
So Jimmy Garoppolo's got two things right now that he can do. Continuous play on third down. Continue to be efficient, get the ball out. And also, he has a chance to do something he's never done as a 49er. 3 straight games without an interception. Does this happen, Andrew Pasquini?
We're back. Sorry. So the fun thing about recording during lunchtime is street cleaning's happening right now. So I apologize about the leaf blower in the background. I apologize about that. Yeah, man, like it's the second time he's had a chance to do that this season as well. If you remember, we talked about it a little bit going into the Atlanta game. He goes on and throws 2 interceptions against Atlanta. One of them was just a Hail Mary. The other was a garbage time. Niners trying to make something happen, throws the interception. I feel confident because not only is he making safe throws, but I feel like the dimes have been happening more and more frequently. Like it almost feels like last year, like you would get like one good throw from Jimmy Garoppolo, like one really good throw. Like obviously good throws are eye of the beholder type stuff, but you get one really good throw from Jimmy Garoppolo, maybe once, 2, 3, 4 weeks, whatever it may be. I feel like it's almost on a weekly basis. Jimmy Garoppolo is dropping a dime or two every game. I mean, the one that comes to mind was the Ray McCloud little wheel route on the sideline, throwing it on the run, especially with the banged up secondary. And I know I just said Buda Baker had an interception last week with a high ankle sprain. You'd like to think that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to play it a little safer again. I mean, as he always does, but with such a hurt secondary with the Cardinals, yeah, man, let's do it. Let's go 3 consecutive games, no interceptions. Let's just get that stat out of the way. And maybe we could start talking about a little bit of a streak, right? Instead of 3, maybe we talk 4 and 5 and 6, and Jimmy just continues to play clean football. And I think that's why it's really dumb and really simple-minded football stuff for me to say this, but the Niners are really good when Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't throw an interception. They're 5-0 this season when he doesn't, and they're 0-3 when he does. And I know this is teetering on what's the stat that we like to make fun of? If the Niners run the ball 30 times in a game, they win. So just run the ball 30 times, you'll win every time. It's one of those stats, definitely, but I think there's a little more credence to it because while the running the ball 30 times thing, like that's just a game trend, interceptions are huge in terms of momentum shifts, especially where they are. If Jimmy Garoppolo, let's just say, knock on wood, let's hope it doesn't happen. Let's say one of those interceptions are like a red zone interception. The Niners trying to go down, extend a lead to 2 scores type thing. Now the momentum's different. Maybe Arizona goes down. Now Arizona has a lead, and now it looks bad because of the interception. It's very simple. If Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't throw an interception, the Niners are going to win football games. And if he can make it 3 consecutive, that'd be really cool. I think it happens. I think he goes 3 consecutive without an interception. I think the Niners, who knows, maybe with the altitude, he airs it out a little bit more and we see a couple more deep shots, but we won't. That's just me joking, Jason. I got the reaction I wanted out of you from it. Short passes, get the ball into Deebo Samuel, get the ball to George Kittle, obviously Christian McCaffrey. And I think that's what the Niners offense is going to be. It hasn't hurt them the past couple of weeks, and I think it'll continue to be that. Jimmy Garoppolo, 3 consecutive games, no interception. Book it tonight.
I love it. I love it. Book this one. George Kittle scores a touchdown and gets a squeaky wheel game because he was asked about his targets and he said, sure, I'd love to get him, but it is what it is. I think Kyle Shanahan heard that, and I think that he's going to be featured in this one.
Well, again, it's one of those things where like the Niners have so many offensive weapons, and we said this on Monday. It's some players are going to get less touches because of it. And it's going to be a very much week to week thing. And I know there's this thought of like, why don't the Niners just use George Kittle as Travis Kelce and just throw him the ball all the time? Well, the Chiefs offense does it kind of out of necessity. I know they have decent receivers over there in Kansas City, but none of them on the level of Brandon Ayuk, none of them on the level of Deebo Samuel. And they don't really have an offensive playmaker not named Patrick Mahomes on the level of Christian McCaffrey. So there's things like that. Like, yeah, in a vacuum, yeah, just use Kittle like they use Kelce in Kansas City, and that's it. But it's not as simple as that. It's not as simple as pressing a button and just throwing a ball up to a receiver. There's going to be games where they don't get touches, and it comes to attention more when it's Kittle, because I understand I don't know if you know this, Jason. George Kittle's a fan favorite with 49er fans, and they notice when he doesn't get touches. But I think the other side of having this weapon, this isn't the NBA where you can just kind of pass the ball around and hope a shot happens, is certain players are going to get left out, and hopefully Kittle gets his game tonight or soon. Oh my God, here we go. I
love it.
I love this question. Yeah, exactly. Are we done? Can we just, I think we're done with the preview part, and maybe we just throw out our final score prediction, and then we can take this question and have a little fun for the last 5 minutes.
Right. I'll read this one for you because you are the wrestling expert. In a 2 versus 2 lucha libre tag team match is what they would call it, lucha libre match, who would you rather go up against, Trent Williams and Deebo or Javon Kinlaw and Kittle? The answer is neither for me, but I'm going to leave it to Andrew because all of those guys would snap me in half.
I like the idea of calling it a lucha libre mask because now I have Trent Williams wearing like a wrestling mask in my head, and I'm all about that thought. I have a hard time going against Trent Williams. I feel like you could put Trent Williams and Mitch Wishnowsky on this team against Javon Kinlaw and Kittle, and it'll be the story of like Trent Williams just doing all the work, and then like Wishnowsky does the like secret tag, and Williams is like, what's going on? And Wishnowsky hits his finisher, which is probably just like a punt, like he kicks him or something, and then he
probably be off the ropes, right? Like,
yeah, I think like I would pay good money to watch Mitch Wishnowsky execute a drop kick off of the top turnbuckle. I think that would be great entertainment. I think Trent Williams and anybody versus anybody on the Niners team, I'm gonna take Trent Williams. Like the question is, it's like, who would you rather have, 11 Trent Williams or 11 George Kittles on your, like, Trent Williams every time, every time. So I'll take Trent Williams and Deebo Samuel in this one.
I don't want to face Javon Kinlaw or George Kittle. Let's just
no. Personally, I would hate any of those. But like, if I get to if I get to manage a tag team, Trent Williams is my first pick every time.
Luis, thank you again for the donation down in Mexico. I can't believe how you're probably jazzed like for this game right now. What is the new wrinkle you would like to see in the team, or the player you think is going to stand out this week? I got George Kittle. I think that they're going to run a lot more stuff for him, either screens or they're just going to put him as the first read. I think that this is a chance where they're going to execute, Kittle against linebacker. If you bring Budda Baker down and you want to try to take away George Kittle, fine. That means now you've got somebody on the outside who can eat. Now you've got another secondary member who can't come down and cover Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel. I think when we think about these weapons, you have to think about two things, and who's going to eat, I guess, is stylistically, what does this team do that Kyle can exploit? Who's having the hot hand during the game, and just match up personnel wise. So I think that's why, the only people that are really upset about the touches and all that stuff are the fantasy football people.
Yeah.
For the 49ers, if George Kittle gets 2 catches and they win by 32, I don't care. If Deebo Samuel gets 1 catch and they win by 32, I don't care. So it's going to go down to what's best for the team to win, who's having the most effective time. So I really, I understand you paid so much for these guys. You pay, okay, that's fine. But that's a luxury you have. Hey, Kittle, this week it's you. Next week, Deebo, it's you. Ayuk, every week, 80 yards, it's you. Again, that's what makes this so hard to defend. If you think it's hard to defend, if you think it's hard for them to pick, imagine being on the other side trying to defend it. So
yeah. I think this is more of a Jason question because we know Jason's the tape guy here and understands the wrinkle. I think, to me, I don't know if this is a spicy take based off last week, but I think Elijah Mitchell leads the team in touches again. And I don't know if that counts as a new wrinkle or something, but I still think it's surprising with the amount of offensive weapons the Niners have not named a lot. Like nothing against Elijah Mitchell. He's a very good running back in the NFL. But when you look at an offense of George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey, it's like he's the 5th name you think of. Yet he was maybe the most productive player on the offense last week because of the touches. So I know it's not a new wrinkle, but I could see this being another Elijah Mitchell game.
Mm-hmm. And Gammon, he says, "Why does Luis have to keep out donating me every time I do a super chat?" Guys, you know,
it's not a competition.
It's great. Thank you, guys. We appreciate the love and everything, and I know everybody's excited. But yeah, it's definitely not a competition. But yeah, I mean, it's really gonna boil down to, again, week to week, what's working, what isn't. I think Kyle notices, hey, Elijah's running the ball better. I understand you traded all that for Christian McCaffrey. You know, again, I'm gonna say it again. Christian McCaffrey's not here to just beat the Rams one week. He's supposed to be here for years. So let's make sure we space out his touches and keep him good and not run him in the ground and all those things.
I think more so now, too, with Christian McCaffrey is like, I think you could really break the 49ers offensive weapons into four different categories: receiver, tight end, running back, and now I think offensive weapons officially a category in this offense because it was a Debo, or what do you want to call it? Wide back, whatever the terminology
offensive weapon,
offensive weapon, whatever you want to call it. It's now that there's two of them. I think it's now officially a position in the Niners offense. Last year was a Debo Samuel specific. Now it's a real position. So yeah, in terms of that, like maybe McCaffrey doesn't get as many carries as he did last week, but he'll easily make that up in receptions because, like, Elijah Mitchell, he's a running back. I don't think the Niners need him running out of the backfield as a receiver anymore because they have Christian McCaffrey. So from that standpoint as well, yeah, I like that thought, Jason, that the touches will get around and all that stuff. But yeah, the offense is totally different now because of McCaffrey. And now you have Elijah Mitchell, a true running back, to now where McCaffrey can do different things and make this offense more versatile, as the kids would like to say. I don't know what kids say versatile. I just said that. But anyways, Jason, we're creeping up to the end of the podcast. We haven't given our predictions. I was going to go with a 38-10, but Jason Aponte yelled at me and said,
I did not.
I'm not. This was always going to be a close game because I jokingly say Jason yelled at us about predicting a blowout, but at the same time, like, Jason in my head yells to me that, hey, it's a divisional game. It's going to be closer than it actually should be. I'll go 24-14. It's still close, but I think the Niners, I just think it's one of those games the Niners take control early. They jump out to maybe like a 14-0 lead early and just kind of ride that the rest of the game into a 24-14 victory. I think it's going to be one of those wins where the Cardinals maybe get a couple in the fourth quarter when the Niners are up 21-0 or 21-7, whatever it may be, when it's, okay, game's over. 24-14, a little closer on the scoreboard, but I don't think it's going to be as close as the score tells you it is.
Right, 27-16 49ers, but this game's going to be a dogfight down and away. I see Wanda, she's in here. Shout out to her. She's asking why the Niners favored by 10. It moved to 10 when Colt McCoy was announced as the starter. So Vegas is that right now. That bet is a sucker bet, right? Like that's for the people who, and I mean that's for the people who don't watch the 49ers. Yeah. Right. And don't watch the Cardinals. Right. So you, from the outside looking in, you're looking at that and you say 10. 49ers are really good. The Cardinals are going to be starting Colt McCoy. Oh, yeah, give me that. They're going to cover that. That's Vegas trying to get you in. Like, so the smart money, I think, would be on the Cardinals covering that, actually.
Wanda's on your side, though, but he's better than Kyler. I love that.
Hey, we had the whole discussion. Please rewind it and go right back because we echo those sentiments.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we absolutely get. And like even too with the 10, like the fun thing is, and I'm not a gambler because California doesn't allow me to legally be a degenerate gambler as much as I'd love to. There's definitely a thing where like the spread is too big to feel comfortable with, and like 10 is teetering on like, yeah, man, the Niners are better than the Cardinals, but the Cardinals are still a professional football team, and I trust them to keep it close. So 10 is when it's like, that's too big of a spread for the Niners, and I think maybe that's where it'll be close. But yeah, I think Colt McCoy might be better than Kyler Murray at this point. Who knows? But I think for a one night thing against the Niners, like there is no break. We'll put it like that. I don't think the Niners caught a break here. Is that the best way to say it?
Yeah. Colt McCoy can execute the offense better than Kyler Murray, I think, and can execute it to Cliff's vision better than Kyler Murray. Yes. Now, there's times when Kyler bails out either a bad play call or good protection or good, secondary, but Colt's going to know what to do pre-snap. He's very good at calling out protections. Trust me, like to go back. Yeah, it's more about Colt executing to Cliff's vision as opposed to, okay, you'll take some of the bad with Kyler, but some of the good may save your ass in this game. So again, I think Cliff is just going to take what he knows in Colt McCoy, and he feels more confident in his play calls, and he knows that Colt's going to go with the ball where he needs to go.
Perfect. Hey, that's another episode of the Sprint Route Option Podcast. We enjoy everybody. And once again, one last time, tomorrow, the preview or the review of the Cardinals game will be with the 49ers Supporter Club live on the 49ers app. If you use the promo code live_sprint right, live_sprint_right, got it right that time, you get $25 off your first year subscription with the Supporters Club. So please come support us. There will be a Q&A specific portion of it. So if you want to get your questions answered from us, hang out the whole time. We'll break down the game. We'll give a little bit look forward, and then there'll be a Q&A section for you guys. So definitely come hang out. It's definitely the coolest thing. I think this podcast has done separate. I think the second coolest thing, because I think doing the podcast in the same room was pretty cool, but that's just
that was
personal.
Cool.
I think from the standpoint of the podcast as a whole, 49ers app is probably the most impressive thing we've done. And I'm not even going to be silent about it. I'm not going to be humble about it. It's pretty cool that we're getting this opportunity. I'm very, very excited. Jason Aponte, do you have any final thoughts before I ask you the final question, or not the final, the last statement of the podcast?
No, I would say thank you guys. Make sure that you drop a like, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, subscribe to Sprint Right wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you download the 49ers app so you can see Andrew and I tomorrow. Just join that Supporters Club. Use that promo code that he talked about. Very cool. My father's super excited, even though he probably doesn't know how to download the app. I'm sure he's very excited about it, and I'll eventually show it to him. But shout out to all you guys, and enjoy the game today. It should be fun. I mean, and it's really cool to see the game grow and go different places. Jealous of all the 49er fans that are in Mexico City right now enjoying themselves. I love Mexico. I've only been there once. I had a blast. I love tacos. I love the culture. I love all of it. It's a beautiful thing. And I think that's it. Yeah, and we'll be back Friday also on the.
We'll be back. I'll be in my bedroom that I grew up in for that episode. Nice. I'll be in Santa Rosa. I love how all parents are the same, because I definitely have had the same experience of explaining it. My parents are just like, yeah, we're excited. Don't know exactly what it means, but we're excited. It's they just hear 49ers and they're like, oh, this is exciting.
My dad's like, wait, the actual 49ers? I'm like, yes, the team. I was like, they actually listened to us and they gave us guidelines on how to act, because they know that there's one person on this podcast that usually flies off the handles. So they were very much like, hey, it's gonna be fun, it's gonna be loose, chill out, like don't.
Spicy Pasquini, as they like to call me. Ariel, it is live_sprint_right. That's the promo code. If you find us on Twitter as well, we have a couple tweets out. We'll bump one out before the game as well, or maybe after the game, whenever.
That's tomorrow at 5. That's tomorrow at 5 at 8. So and then Supporters Club, you have to tell them where to sign up for the Supporters Club. Yeah,
and let me just real quick, Tarvarius, he says he doesn't see it all. It's
not in the app. You can't do it through the app.
Let me get the link one last time so we can make sure to send people right, and then we'll be out of here. It is supporters.49ers.com/hub HUB. That's the website you can go use. Sign up. Use the promo code live_sprint_right. We will be there from 5 until either 5:30 or 6. They said anywhere from 30 to an hour. It's kind of our choice. And we might have to cut stuff because we are very famous for going very long on the Sprint Right Option podcast, especially when the Niners win. So if the Niners win, we might have to cut out a lot of the good things that happen, because we tend to talk. We like the Niners here on the Sprint Right Option podcast. So much so that I go, hey, Jason Aponte, as always, at the end of each episode.
Let's go Niners.
Let's go Niners, and let's pick up a victory tonight. Make me happy.
Welcome, everybody.
We are live.
My name is Jason Aponte.
I am Andrew Pasquini.
We're working. That's it. We're working over here. That's it. Let's go Niners.
Let's go Niners.